Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chats. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong live for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well. Hello. Good morning, everyone. Good to see one or two early birds up and at it. So there you go. Hey, good morning, Brad. How you doing? Rosie's up and at it as well. Good morning, Rosie. Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Edmund. Morning, mate. How are you? Great to have you here on the show. Justin. Up and into it as well, mate. Good to see you. Thanks for joining, folks. Do the little quick intros and warm-ups while we're getting things going. Jason Witten's my name. You guys know that. Some of you do anyway, but if you don't, now you do. Good morning and welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats. We've been doing these catch-ups, get-togethers for about 4 or 5 years now, since COVID. When did COVID happen? 2020. There you go, 4 years. Talking about staying on track with Property Invest, folks. That's what this is all about this morning. Trying to sort out a little bit of the fear from the facts when it comes to the world of property investing. It takes a little bit of time to get a portfolio grown, built, and created, the one you want, to create some wealth in the future. A little bit of patience as well. And we all know that it sometimes we might get track and catching up each morning and talking about, things we need to keep an eye on as investors is what this show's all about. So welcome. Fantastic to have you here. If it's your first time or you're a guest or you're just finding us, whatever it might be, let us know in the chat. Give us a shout out. Say a quick hello. Jeff, good morning to you, mate. Luke's there as well. Morning, Luke. Good to have you up and at it with me, folks. Hey, this morning I thought we might have a little conversation about our wealth team. Our wealth team here at Positive. We call it our 6-star team. With our exit planners, our business owner wealth clients, we call it the core 4 plus the 6-star team. This thing, creating a property portfolio is not it's not a solo journey, folks. It's not I did it my way, Frank Sinatra. It's not a hand solo journey. It needs a team of good people who know what they're doing to help you out. So I thought this morning we might have a conversation about what that might look like when it comes to our team, our wealth team, and those who help us on this journey when it comes to creating our wealth. Morning, Dave. Good to see you, mate. As we go, many of you know Andy. We love Andy Fenton, good fella. He has a saying, folks. He has a saying the conversation, the concept of creating the future in advance. In advance. Now, how do we do that? How do we create the future in advance when it comes to being a property investor? Well, it's very easy. How do you create your day in advance? How do you create your week in advance? How do you create your year in advance? Well, folks, it's a good question. And after 25 years of being a property investor, 22 years being a business, one of the little obvious, but often not talked about conversations when it comes to the idea of creating your future in advance, um, making sure you have that tuned up, is writing it down, making some goals, and more importantly, which I really love, putting it in your damn calendar. Now, folks, sounds as boring as batshit. For me, I was always against planning my calendar in advance. I was like, let's have life as a little bit of spontaneity. But when it comes to wealth, when it comes to creating something in the future, uh, the idea of a plan and calendars really shine through. So let's have a chat about that this morning. Let's talk about what this might be, because here's the wealth formula I want to talk about this morning when it comes to making this thing hum, creating the future in advance, the future that you desire, the future of creating a property investment portfolio that gives you what you want. And the first step is you've got to choose. You've got to choose something. Now, sometimes it might be the other way around. But Laura, first up, we've got to choose the team. All right, choose the team. You have an idea. You've got a goal. All right, you've got a goal. You've got this thought. You want some financial freedom. There's no real shape around it. There's no real how or whatever. And a very smart person said, the most important thing is who, not folks, who, not how. Okay. Wealthy people understand that it's a who question, not a how question. How do I do this? Well, that's actually fairly straightforward, because there is a lot of people who does it the best. Who do I want to work with? Who do I want on my team? This is a who, not how start to our conversation when it comes to this. Who is on your team? You already have this idea. You already have this goal. You already have this thought. I want some financial flexibility. I want some financial freedom. I want some financial results. All right. That's what you want. That's what you're looking for. Okay. Great. What do? Choose a team. Choose some people to be on your team to help you get them. Number one, you've got to choose the team that are going to support that journey when it comes to investing. You're choosing property investing, or on this conversation, this chat, we're talking about property investing. Who is going to captain your team? Now, it's pretty important. Who's in charge? Who's in charge of the direction of this part of your investing? That's really important. And what is the role you are going to play? Okay. How are you going to be involved? Is it a lot? Is it a little bit? Whatever it might be. So these are good questions as we go along. What's the role you're going to play? Right. Once we have the team around us, we talk to the right people and we create, chuck it in the chat. What are we creating? Once we've got a team. Now, you have a goal, right? So this is something before choosing the team and creating this thing, next thing. Tell me in the chat if you know what it is. You create something. You've got a goal. You've got a goal. You want something, and you say, okay, well, property investing is going to be part of achieving that goal. You create a plan. Okay, you create a plan, folks. You create a plan of how you're going to get there. You create a plan. What are you going to do? When are you going to do it? Right? And what's the value? What's the value and the
and the numbers. Yeah, you did right, Rosie. Boom, that's a plan. You create a plan, right? So it's pretty simple. Create a plan. And with property investing, folks, I love it. Yeah, a roadmap. Boom. Exactly, Rosie. Right? And this stuff, often we overthink it. Remember, who, not how. Who, not how, right? You're choosing a good team, and you create a simple plan. In part of my investing, and this is, remember, when we go back here, we've got the 3 stages of investing, folks, in this acquisition stage. Now, when we go through these stages, lifestyle and legacy stage, sometimes the captain of your team changes, or the director, the one that's directing this part of the adventure, changes. Okay, so as we go along, so down here, our plan at this moment in time, and just talking about most of us, are in the acquisition phase. We're in acquiring the number of properties we need for our goal. All right. Now, what does that look like? Well, for most of us sitting on this call, that is going to be between 5 and 7 investment properties, or between $3 and $4 million minimum of acquired assets, properties, creating an income. Now, over the long term, you want the debts down and you want the incomes up and all sorts of stuff. But that's the real simple conversation. As quick as possible and as safely as possible, acquire $3 to $4 million worth of real estate, and give it some time, maintain it. In the middle section, folks, when we have, this is the manage, maintain, and maximize. Manage, maintain, and maximize. The triple M in the consolidation phase. All right. Maybe a little bit of debt reduction at the right time, but we can talk about that a bit later on. So we've got our plan. What do we want? We need to buy $4 million worth of real estate over the next our acquisition over the next 3 to 7 years. And the dollars and cents and numbers, we got that there. All right. So it's pretty simple. What, by when, and dollars and cents. It's easy peasy. All right. That's our plan. Right. And the most powerful thing, this is the most powerful piece. All right. We call it the calendar of cadence. Cadence. All right. Cadence. It's so important to have a system of calendared stuff going on. Right. Number one, what are we calendaring? We're calendaring the action. It literally is as simple as this, folks. By the end of 2024, or by the end of October 2024, I'll have purchased another property in Queensland. I want a house and land, and my maximum buying power is 800. Right? That's it. That's the calendar. Right? That's the what. By when, my dollars and cents, and now I take the action. Get it done. Get it done, folks. Who's going to help you? Well, your team are going to help you. The team's going to help you. Who's going to be the captain of your team, driving strategy forward? We'll talk about that in a minute. But action, right? It's all damn hot air and sunshine if you're not taking action. All right. Now, sometimes, which is the annoying part, right? Sometimes we're a bit stuck. You can't take action to acquire something, but we can do other things. There can be other things going on. But anyway, that's not today. Hey, morning, Shelley. Good to see you. Thanks for jumping on. Taking action. Now you've got to measure it. Now measurements. When do we check in and measure, folks? When do we check in and measure? I think quarterly. Every 3 to 4 months, you should be checking in on your bits and pieces. Your cash flow and your tax deductions and your income, and then once a year you should be checking in minimum on your values and your loans. But we'll talk about that. So the measurement, and then you've got to audit this thing. Am I on track? Or is it off track? Where am I on the process? All right. Audit, check in, measure, audit, and then go again. All right. So have I got the right team? Is the captain team, are we going forward? And then are we on track with our plan? So we've got a little matrix here. Who do you need? So the captain. So out of these, and I've just chucked a few on the side here. Let's say we're in the acquisition phase, right? So chuck this in. We'll do a little exercise here, team. We'll do a little exercise. Right, we're in the acquisition phase. Acquisition phase. I think that's acquisition. Anyway, I always get confused about acquisition. Anyway, bit of dyslexia. In the acquisition phase, buying, right? We need to purchase properties as quick as possible. Who should be the captain of your team in the acquisition phase, folks? Put it down in there. Now, captain, now remember this. Captain of the team. They're on the field playing the game for you. Now, you're the owner, right? You own the team. You're the owner of the team, all right? Now, think of this. You own the team. Who's the captain? Who's going to be setting the strategy, driving things forward, leading the team, all right? So you're the owner. You'll always be involved, all right? So in this sort of section, who's the captain of your team? In the acquisition phase of your investing, this is kind of a, bit of a trick question, but who out of the ones on the screen here, property advisor, coach, yep, your advisor strategist, you're dead right, Rosie. Boom, right? Your advisor, your property advisor, all right? So your prop advisor. All right, so we know the property advisor is the captain of the team. We're getting advice and strategy from those guys. Maybe even some tactics, and we'll talk about this a bit later on. But they don't coordinate things, they don't implement, they don't manage. All right. So let's have a look at this sort of stuff, right? So you've got your property advisor, they give you advice, they help you set strategy, and they explain tactics. Okay. So now what does the property agent or your PC, your property consultant do? Well, they're not giving you advice, they're not setting strategy, but they certainly 100% understand the tactic of a purchase, right? They will coordinate things like, get your due diligence, help you go through, research in the area. They'll help you implement the process of purchasing, but they're not going to manage the property for you. All right. So what's a finance broker doing? Now, this is interesting. Your finance broker certainly will give you advice on finance. They'll do strategy. They'll give you tactics, and they'll coordinate for sure. And they certainly 100% will implement. Right. So as we go through, what do we expect from the team in this sort of section? So here's your accountant. Now, when it comes to property investment, or is this property any good? We've got to be careful who we ask which question from, but your accountant's giving you some tax and structuring advice. In my world, when it comes to property strategy, I don't think they should be involved in any of the strategy stuff. They'll coordinate the tax, implement, and manage. So that's what they'll do. Okay, but strategy and tactics when it comes to ownership of a bit of real estate and that sort of stuff, no, right? And and we go on, right? We go through, folks, right? Property management. Well, they're not giving you advice about things, tactics. They might do some tactics about rental increases, but they certainly will coordinate, implement, and manage your property. All right, et cetera, et cetera. Right? At the end of the day, the lawyer will give you some advice. They'll implement, a contract or some bits and pieces. And this is now we'll finish up with the financial planner. Will they give you advice? And let's say about purchasing a property. Well, they can, but it's not for the acquisition phase. Okay, and this is where sometimes we can get a bit confused, because we go, all right, well, who is it? Is it the planner? Is it my accountant? Is it my property advisor? It's kind of those three have a little bit of a tussle sometimes, or some conflicting stuff. All right. So, but for me, at the end of the day, in the acquisition of property, well, unless you're buying through your super, the financial planner has nothing to do with the acquisition of a deal, right? As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to this sort of stuff. So they're not even involved in this acquisition stage as a player, a high level player. Certainly when it comes to your super, if you're doing something like that, or your life insurances or those sorts of things, they'll be involved, right? So here we go. So then, and then over here we have this thing called the calendar of cadence, all right? So you go, when am I going to meet them? What do they do in the acquisition phase? When would you meet your property advisor? For me, it'd be at least 2 to 4 times a year, 2 to 4 times a year minimum, for a strategy and a check-in session, right? So you go down and do the calendar of cadence, folks, as you go along. Yeah, absolutely, Brad. Yeah. They certainly can. When your structures are a little bit more complicated, your financial planner and accountant are vital, and that's a good reminder, Brad. PAYG, so those with careers, your tax flexibility is limited, so there's less high level strategy in that sense available for PAYG. Business owners, or when you're buying in structures, then financial planning and accounting comes into its own in that sort of sense. So here's the drill. Get over here to your wealth team, your calendar of cadence, and have a look. Now, do you need to catch up with your property agent every year? No, not really, but maybe once a year you sort of chat to them about the deals. Your finance broker, once you've done a deal, I think it's 2 times a year for sure. Your accountant, I think 4 times a year, depending on where you're at least twice, maybe 2 to 4 times a year, and so on. So if you go down the list and you put sort of how many times do I need to catch up with these people and what do I need to do when I catch up with them, then, folks, now you've got the calendar of cadence. Now you've got your calendar of success. Now you've got your wealth team system down pat. You book in those meetings, the regular person, and this is not in any way meant to be disrespectful or disparaging, but most people meet with their accountant, one professional a year, only because they have to put their taxes in. They don't ask any questions. They don't get any advice. Imagine you met with, your property manager. You at least need to catch up with your property manager twice a year. Your lawyer, I think they're on demand depending on how much you're doing, and your financial planner at least twice a year. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 11. Imagine you had 11 meetings a year with your advisors for wealth. You times that by 20 times, 20 years. Imagine the difference, the distance you would travel. Your future would improve, folks. 11 meetings a year. Small incremental improvements would mean significant value into the future. All right. Anyway, there you go. You get my drift, folks. You picking up what I'm putting down. There you go. Anyway, folks, there you go. Wealth Coffee Chat's done and dusted for today. Calendar of cadence. Who's on your wealth team? Who's in charge? Who's doing what? All right. We need to make sure we get that stuff right. Anyway, there you go. Hope that was useful. That's it for today, folks. Join us again tomorrow for another Wealth Coffee Chat. The team will be doing Wealth Coffee Chats tomorrow, and it'll be Cass from the property management team. He'll be up and talking about all things property management, which is pretty important. Why is property management important? You know why? Because they spend the most time with your assets out of all of those professionals than you ever will. No one else in your team spends more time with your assets than your property manager. Get a good one and make sure they know what they're doing. Anyway, there you go, folks. That's it from me. Thanks for joining, folks. Great to have you here. Yeah. Yeah, for sure, Justin. I'll get that stuff in Kajabi for sure. Thanks for the reminder. I'll get it out to the team and they can share it with you guys for sure. Awesome. Thanks, Rosie. Thanks, Shelley. Yeah. Yeah. Put it in your calendar, show up to the meeting, ask the questions, take the action. All right, folks. That's it. Went over time a bit. Anyway, take care. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6-Star team here at positivementor.com.au.